Hello, everybody, and welcome to whatever the episode number is of the This Old Knit podcast. I am your host, Nina, otherwise known as Ine, on Ravelry, Instagram, and Pinterest. And you can find show notes for this episode and all previous episodes on the corresponding numbered thread on the This Old Knit Ravelry group. Sorry, I was stepping on the sleeve of a whip. So to returning viewers, thank you so much for coming back, and to new viewers, thank you so much for checking me out. Hopefully I figured out the camera issue. I got a new phone back in February, which I've had issues with, but the default settings were for things to be stored as mirrored. So I think that's why all of my text was flipping. So I looked it up on the internet, and it told me where to go into the settings, and I've checked it, and I think that now text should be showing properly. My yarn baskets here are over always to the right of me, and it was also inverting my room, which was very weird and jarring when I was watching the podcast episode afterwards, because I usually have to watch it twice. Once for editing, and then I do it once after it's all edited and up to do actual show notes, because I can't do those two simultaneously. And my husband also said, it's so weird, everything is like flipped in the room, and I know how the room should look. I'm like, yeah, I don't know what to do. So anyway, long story short, I fixed it, and we should be good to go. So I should be able to show you labels, yarn names, colorway names, etc. again. Do I have any other shirts? No, I don't. This is the only shirt forever and ever and ever. It is super comfortable. I think I need to get she has another one that's also the V-neck style. My baller shirt is the crew neck style, and I do like it. I've worn it around quite a bit, but I find myself gravitating to this one a little bit more. So she has one that's like fuel up on fiber or something, and it's got like different pieces of sushi, but they're different yarns and stuff. So I might get that one too, maybe at Rhinebeck if she's vending, or if sometimes Nerdbird Makery and Shelly Can are together in a booth. So I think Shelly Can is going to be at India Untangled, so she'll probably have some of Nerdbird Makery's merchandise. Yeah. Oh, and update, my friend Andrea was able to camp tickets for India Untangled, and she got one for me and one for my sister in the same time slot. So yay, I got to go to India Untangled. So if you're going to be at India Untangled or Rhinebeck and you watch the podcast and want to meet up, feel free to, I'm going to start a thread on my group just called Going to Rhinebeck or India Untangled 2018. And then if you are, let me know in that thread, and we can kind of coordinate where and when we could meet up, because I would love to meet more people in person. So there's that. And then I'm going to try to meet a couple of people I know that are vending there. So Gabby from Once Upon a Corgi this is her first year vending there. So obviously I will go and say hello and give her a hug. And then Anne from Little Skein Anne will also, or she is Little Skein Anne on Instagram. I believe she's Little Skein in the Big Wool as her business. But I want to go and meet her. I want to go and meet Kindred Reds dyer. There's a lot of people that I've chatted with on Instagram or Ravelry for several years, so it'll be really nice to meet them in person. So yeah, that's exciting. And Mina's going to be there as well in the Lavender Loon booth. So I may not even buy very much, because I felt like I didn't have enough time to really look a lot at India Untangled. It was just very rushed as far as like time frame. So I think I might focus more on just walking around and saying hi to people, and letting Andrea and my sister Missy enjoy seeing the show. So that's that update. And yeah, I'll start the thread so that people can post in there if they will be going to Rhinebeck. And I think that Anna and I, Anna's from the Anna Knitter podcast, are going to do the follow along again this year. So typically I did it and then I picked up whatever the prize was going to be for the winner from my group or from my thread at Rhinebeck. So I will plan on doing that again this year. I'll probably also get the Q3 prize from Rhinebeck. And my mom also donated a prize, which I need to go and get. So I'll show my whips, and then when we get to the acquisition section, if I remember at that point, I'll go and get the yarn. But my mom donated 2 skeins of Felici yarn. That's actually in classic Felici, so it's not a colorway that you would be able to get now. And I really like the old Felici a lot. I'm just drinking some coffee from Panera. I'm a little bit out of it. Joshua came and woke me up at like 6:30, 6:15 or 6:30, asking me about making him crunchy potatoes, which is what he calls hash browns. And I'd been up kind of late last night, so yeah, I was just out of it, and he was like trying to wake me up. So he said, I'll go get some stuffed animals until you're ready to wake up and we can play with those. So he's like shoving the stuffed peep pillow into my face and a dog, and I'm having to tack things, and it was a whole thing. So I'm still not completely with it right now. But we did go pick nectarines. We picked like 16 pounds of nectarines, and we also got some corn and some bell peppers. That was the other thing we got. So yeah, that was fun. It's at one of the local orchards around here. And then we went to Panera for breakfast, and there was a knitting group there sitting outside, and Joshua was like, Mommy, they have 2 extra chairs. We should sit with them. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to invite myself into their knitting circle. He's like, but you have your knitting. So anyway, we ended up joining them, and apparently they're there every Saturday in the mornings. So we might go there sometimes. De vez en cuando. Once in a while? Yeah, once in a while. Just to change it up. So, FOs, I do not have any knitting related FOs this week, but I do have a sewing FO. So I will show you that first, and then we'll, go into knitting content. I've set myself up for disaster here. I really have. I thought I had both sets of stuff. It's probably, yep, it's falling all the way down in there. Everything's gonna fall apart now. Okay. All right, so as I said, I have a sewing FO, and it is a dress pattern from, it's one of the big 4. I will link to it in the show notes because I don't know exactly where the pattern envelope and stuff is over in the mess that's behind you. What I usually do once I've drafted a pattern, because I always, as I've shared, have to combine sizes. So once I've drafted all the pieces and put them on Swedish tracing paper, I take those, the instructions, the pattern envelope, and everything, and I put it in one of the big gallon Ziploc bags. And then that's where I keep it. So that way it stays nice. I can take out the pieces and recut it whenever I want to. But unfortunately, that makes it a little bit hard to find them. I'm thinking I'm going to have to come up with maybe some sort of filing system. I do have a file cabinet in my office, which is behind me. It's this room behind this wall. So So I may be able to repurpose that and like make the patterns sit up in hanging folders. That's actually a really good idea. Yeah. And then I could use the little thing on the top to, or actually, like, the bags will probably sit up enough that I could write on the top of them what they are. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into this. But anyway, but right now it's just a hot mess over there. They're just kind of thrown on top of my bags of yarn that I have sitting over there. And Josh is going to build me a custom shelving unit to go under the windows, and then I could put a bench seating on top of it, and like go get some foam, which actually Affordable Fabrics sells the rolled foam by the yard, so I could get a couple of yards of foam, cover it with upholstery fabric, and then I could have a nice little window seat bench thing. But for right now, it's just wire shelving that we've had for years and years. It's the modular shelving you see all the time, like at craft fairs and stuff like that, that the vendors will have the cubes that are made out of wire, and they have like little knobs at the junctions of the wire. I'm really explaining this super well. Let's show you the dress and stop chitter-chattering. So speaking of Affordable Fabrics, this is material fabric that I bought at Affordable Fabrics in Rocky Hill, Connecticut, and it is everything in there is $2.99 a yard. So I think this whole dress cost me $9 to make, a little bit more because I had to go and get this cordage. I didn't have any cordage in my stash, and I actually, if I were to do this dress again, which I definitely will because it fits really nicely, I don't know that I would even put the cords on because I kind of don't like it. Could be because the cordage I used is really slippery, so it doesn't stay tied, but then how long they told me to make it, it's too long and it's like hanging down to my stomach. So I kind of tie it in a half bow and then I just sit there and play with it all day, which is annoying. So I'll bring it closer. It basically has a cut little keyhole detail in the front, and then you put in elastic in this casing, but it makes it look like it's a drawstring, and it's not. It's just separate elastic. I think I will probably go back and pop like a seam in to the elastic because I felt like this drifted all over the place when I was wearing it through the course of the day, and then that made like the shoulder seams hang so that they ended up being here, which looked really weird. So yeah, I think I'll kind of cinch that up a little bit so this part's pretty straight, and then sew a stitch in the ditch on the sides. But it's got that gathered ruched neckline, and then it's just short sleeves, and it's a really easy silhouette. It's a little bit fitted at the waist, it comes in a little bit, but the best part about it is it has pockets, and they're really deep pockets, like big enough to put my phone in. This is not restrictive at all, so it's not tight. It's like it's fitted, but it's not like tight fitted. So it's a little bit looser, I would say, than my Cocoa dresses are. But the waist comes in just a slight bit. Does it come in more? Yeah, I think it comes in a little bit more on the waist. And it's long, so this goes down to my knees, maybe a little bit past my knees. So yeah, and then the pockets kind of hit right here. Yeah, it's super nice. It's really comfortable. This jersey fabric, which it's stretch fabric, is really comfortable. And I think I have enough of this left to probably make a shirt for Megwin. Maybe I could maybe make her like a skater dress type thing. She does really like it. Obviously, it's very similar to the rose fabric that I used for her chorus dress last year, but that was like a velvet, so it's very heavy, but this is very light, so it's like the summer version of the same thing. So clearly I like black with red floral print on it. And I will make all the things that way. So this dress was really fast to sew up once I figured out that neckline thing and had all the pieces. I think it probably took me 2 hours start to finish. So I definitely need a few more of these in my life. Maybe one in navy blue would be really nice. Yeah, because I have some red heels, which I wore with this. And I'll probably insert a picture so that you can see like it matches really nicely with this red. And then I have a pair of navy blue heels, which are somewhat similar to that. But they're more of a slingback, so it would be nice to have another one that's navy blue. I have some navy blue fabric with like little hearts on it, and the hearts are glittery because secretly inside, as I've said many, many times, I'm a 10-year-old girl and I love sparkly things. Yep. Okay, so that is my only FO for this week. And then as far as whips, I have quite a few. I'm going to share this one so that I can throw it into the freezer because this yarn was yarn I brought into the house. Luckily, I have had it away from all my other stash, but I'm pretty sure it had moths. I bought it at a yarn store too, so it was in the clearance section, so I don't know, but it is a pair of socks for my husband. And it's made out of Regia Perfect in the design line. The color is 09135, and that is Fall Night. Their colorway Fall Night. Let me bring it closer so you can see. It's black with some tan, red, light blue, and dark blue. A little bit of yellow. So essentially the deal with the Perfect is that you will get 2 identical socks. It did not have yellow thread in the middle though. It had tan thread or tan yarn, because you have like waist yarn that goes between the two and you like basically start winding it. You wind off the scrap yarn, cut that, and then that's where you would start your socks. So I wound it into 2 balls. I had one ball was sitting on my little coffee table where I have my yarn winder, and it had fallen off onto the floor, and then I was sitting there today, sitting down to wind some yarn. I'll show you in a little bit. And I noticed that it's got a place where there's like almost a break in the yarn. It looks like it's been nibbled upon. There. You can see like that would have been one piece. So this is going in the freezer. And the other ball is already there. But I did start the sock. I finished all the ribbing. I made the ribbing a little bit longer than I normally would. It's 25 rows instead of 20, and it's just started to show the pattern. I'm using some Chalgu needles, and then I have a little coffee cup stitch marker I got from my friend Jessica. So anyway, it is not even in a project bag because I'm not gonna do that to my project bags. It's in a Ziploc bag that's now zipped up, and it's going in the freezer. It's across the room. Don't touch my stuff. Okay. Whip number 2. This is a heavy sock podcast. Whip number 2 I started a bit ago as well. This is a sock for Megwin. And now that they're getting closer to going back to school. She doesn't wear socks basically all summer long. So I kind of had put the pause button on this one because I wanted to see how much her feet grew over the summer. She did just get some new shoes for school, and I think she went up just one shoe size. So the plan was for them to be a little bit shorter. Sorry, now my nose is itchy. It's probably psychosomatic of me touching yarn that I know probably has moth damage, and now I'm like, ah, ah. I also killed 3 moths last night. Joshua kept opening the front door. I was walking. It was late in the evening, and Josh goes to jujitsu on Fridays now, and I really wanted to finish getting my steps in. So I was like, I need to go and walk before it gets completely pitch black outside, because we don't have lights on our driveway, so it gets really dark because we're in the forest. So I was walking, and he's standing at the top of the stairs with the door open going, Mommy, I need this. I'm like, shut the door! Because my craft room is right next to that door, and that door has no screen. So I think we need to look into getting a screen door for the front, because that's not okay. And yeah, there were 3 smallish moths that looked very close mothy. I was able to kill 3, but there could be more. I don't know. There could be more. So anyway, I may toss the stash today just to get things swizzled around and see if I, shake anything up. So this sock is out of some, I don't think I even have the tag. It's the My First Regia, and I don't know what this colorway is, but it's a pretty cool striping pattern. So it's a peach with some purple, light pink, and like a taupey green almost. It's a little bit more taupe. It's showing up very green on the screen, but it is more taupey than green. Okay, and then I used a coordinating leftover that I had. I knit a sweater for Molly of a Homespun House's baby. I can't remember now if it was Elodie or Ruby. I think it was Ruby, because she had a baby like a year after I had Joshua. Yeah, so I think it must have been for Ruby. But anyway, this is fiber optic yarns in the Rhoda colorway, I believe. It's a peachy pink, and I think it matches very nicely with this yarn. Meglin calls it a piggy pink. I get where she's coming from, like a piggy skin type color when you have like the little baby pigs and they're so clean and pink. So that's the color she called it. So she said she wanted a piggy pink heel. So anyway, those are cruising along. I finished the gusset, and now I'm just working my way down the foot. This is a 60 stitch sock. I use 64 stitch socks for my feet. So her feet are getting closer to being the same size as mine, which is terrifying. Or maybe not, because she's only 9. So, she'll just buzz right past my size and not be able to steal my shoes. I would totally share my shoes with her. Probably. Maybe. So there's what I have left of the piggy pink. So hopefully I'll be able to use most of it, because I'm going to need to use it also for the toes. I think I'm going to run out of My First Regia, given how long her feet are. This is what I have left of the ball, the first ball of My First Regia. And then I have another ball of it. So for a kid's sock, I would say you probably need 2 balls of it, because it comes in very small skeins. But they'd be perfect for baby socks to just get 1 skein, and they're very affordable. And obviously it's Regia, so it's pretty tough yarn. I want to say badass yarn, but oh boy. Yeah, it's good yarn. So that is that. Socks, socks, socks. I still don't have my sock knitting mojo back for me, but I am trying to make myself knit socks for the family because they all need them before winter time. Let's just keep going with socks. So the next sock I have that I've been working on is this one, and it is the woodsy colorway in the Patton's Croix North American socks. So this is for my husband. It's a 72 stitch sock, and I just finished the gusset shaping, so now I'm just cruising down the foot. And I knit on this a little bit while we were playing. It's a new game I bought for the kids called King Domino. It's really cool. So if you're looking for a game that kind of teaches strategy to kids, it's very similar to Settlers of Catan in the concept of like you're gathering resources, and there's like tiles that are there's two sides to them, so they're kind of like a domino, and you place them against your castle and other tiles, and you're trying to get the highest scoring kingdom. There's some nuances to it, like you put the tiles down in the number order, so then you can claim a tile, but if you claim like a higher scoring tile, then that means you're going to go last the next round because it goes in order from lowest to highest. So then if you pick a lower scoring tile, you're going to get to go first on the next set of tiles. So there's like some forward thinking strategy and stuff. And yeah, it's a really cool game. So I was knitting on these while I was playing King Domino with Megwin and my husband, and Joshua was on my team. But he basically just played with another of the castles because we only had 2 players and there's 4 players possible. I think you can buy an expansion pack for more. But he just took some of the little dudes in the castles and he was just playing with them in the castle, but that's fine. So there it is. I'm pretty sure I'm going to run out of yarn for the foot, and I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do. I feel like I might just put a brown solid toe because I do have more of that Knit Picks Rosada in the cocoa colorway that I used for his last pair of socks. And so far that seems to be holding up pretty well. So I think I'll just knit until I'm out of this skein, and then I'll just switch to the solid color. This is all I've got left. So I don't know why this isn't going as far. Maybe I made the leg longer than I usually do or something. Or maybe when I've done Patton's Croix for him, I've always done a contrasting heel. But at the time I thought I was going to have enough, so I didn't do a contrasting heel. I don't know, but now I'm going to stick with it because I'm not ripping back. So I think that's what I'll do, is I'll probably use the solid chocolate brown colorway, and just wherever I am in the foot, I'll just finish it out. He doesn't care. He's not picky. He just wants socks. And Megwin, we told her she had to wear socks with her new school shoes, because we bought some school shoes for both of them. And she was trying to wear some commercial socks because she has several pairs that are just kind of thinner cotton socks. And she was like, I hate store socks. They have a seam, which is absolutely why I hated socks too. That stupid toe seam that you get from machine knitted socks, where they're basically knitting the toe and then bringing it back on itself and seaming it closed. It sucks. It does not feel good at all. And she grew up always having hand knit socks, and so she's spoiled about that. So anyway, I need to get a move on with knitting those socks. And I'm trying to encourage her, hey, like, you could practice your knitting and then you could knit yourself socks. Happy to supply the yarn. So far that hasn't stuck. And then the last sock that I'm doing, this one is just kind of a by the bed project that I pick up when I don't feel like knitting on my blanket. So I kind of keep it upstairs. So this is some of Once Upon a Corgi's Corriedale nylon base. Is it Aaron? I don't remember. Anyway, it's Corriedale nylon, so it's supposed to be really durable. This is in her dark and gloomy colorway, which is really cool. So I'm very hopeful that this is going to be another good alternative for socks for my husband. So I just have some ribbing on this one. I think I picked it up and knit a little bit more. I'm really close to being able to just start knitting on the foot. And I always just knit vanilla socks for him because he doesn't care. So a pattern's kind of going to be lost on him. He's not going to appreciate it. It's not that he won't appreciate it, but it just doesn't make a difference to him. So it's just as easy for me to do vanilla socks because I have to knit a gigantic man sock, so there's no reason to make it even harder on myself by adding a texture pattern. So there's that. I believe those are all my sock whips. That's a lot. For not feeling like knitting socks, that's a lot of sock whips. Okay. Now on to the sweater whips. So, my Cipla sweater. A little bit of a tale of woe here. At the knitting group today, I realized that I had actually knit past where I needed to on the plain portion of the second sleeve. I wanted to say the second sock. Second sleeve. I knit maybe like 6 rows too much. So I actually need to measure and rip back. I don't know what that sound was. I just heard a weird popping sound. It's really bizarre. Anyway. So the yarn that I'm using is the Yarn at Home Mom in her Glimmer base. This was a teal colorway she dyed that she never named. And then this is Bull and Vine yarns in the Lady of the Lake colorway on her Volca base. So I have completed the body as I showed last time. I've completed a sleeve. And once I rip back, I am ready to begin the color work on the second sleeve. So you can kind of see it if I lay them together and line them up properly. Yeah, see, I knit well past where I should have. Probably need to rip back like that much of the sleeve. Just probably like 7 rows, 8 rows maybe. So I'm just gonna measure it, put my stitch marker in, rip back, and then I can begin the end, which would be this color work. This part went really fast. I actually got very bored with this part. Partly because the floats are super long. Because it's a polka dots. I thought of it as the polka dots section. But the area between them is really long. But these are different enough that I didn't feel like I wanted to catch the floats when I was catching them because the gauge is quite loose. I was finding they were showing through. So I just went with floating them, which I can do, and it's not a big deal, but I don't like long floats. They annoy me. I have to really focus on not pulling too tight. 3 or 4 or 5, I can easily float and I've got my tension really great, but when I get up to like 9 or 10, that's when it starts becoming a challenge. Oh, I just realized I didn't bring my mittens that I'm working on for my sister. So I will go grab those in a second. See, color work makes me think of that. But here's the sleeve, and it turned out so nice. So these cuffs are actually going to go up onto my hand a little bit. So I think they'll be kind of right there, which will be really nice. If I want to turn them down, I'll be able to do that. Or I can have them kind of snugged up on my hand to keep it extra warm. And they look so tiny, but they're definitely big enough for the end of my wrist. I have pretty small wrists. Yeah, so that's that. And this is the Cipolla sweater by Caitlin Hunter, who's Boylan Knitworks. This will definitely be one of my Rhinebeck sweaters. I don't know if I'm going to wear this to Indian Tangled or to Rhinebeck itself. It's really going to depend on the weather. But Caitlin Hunter will be at Indian Tangled, so if I can, I really want to get a picture of myself with her with my FO. So I can totally fangirl and be stupid. But I could either use this one or I could use my Maretimo or my Tanya. Any of those are options. So I really like it. I like the sleeves. I love my color combo. I'm very, very happy with it. And I did go up a needle size on the color work. I knit all of the plain stockinette on a 5, and I knit all of my color work on a 6. That's gonna have to go on the floor for a minute. Okay. And then my Maretimo. So this is also a Caitlin Hunter pattern, obviously, since I said I could do either one for that. This is from her Knitily series of patterns. So there are a bunch of tees / short sleeved sweaters inspired by cities in Italy. Tanya was the first, Maretimo was the second, and then Novelli was the third. I don't know if she's planning on releasing any more. I don't have the Novelli tee pattern. I honestly thought I didn't like it and I wouldn't want to knit it. And then Gabby knit one and now I want it. So I haven't bought it yet though, because I have plenty of Caitlin Hunter patterns to work my way through. So this is also the Yarn at Home Mom yarn. This one is the Shock Coffee Mocha. Oh my god. Mocha Chocolate Caramel Swirlicino. And it's on her basic fingering base. And then my other one, I swear I saw the label for it in here. Anyway, it's Parkour Kitties in the Yellow Orchid colorway, which I can't currently find the label for. I'm working this using the helical knitting method because my skeins were quite a bit different for this yarn. I had a skein of this from the Gilmore Girls Club. I bought my other one from Jilly. It was vegan Jilly. She did a